Top 10 Scariest Places on Earth. Top 10 Scariest Places on Earth. Some of which you will most likely have heard of, and some of which you may have not. What is for sure, though, is that you'll probably want to read some of these creepy stories with the lights on. Although our speciality here at Haunted Rooms is the UK's most haunted hotels, we're fascinated by any haunted place, and there are lots of them about. So, we have decided to put together what we think are the most haunted places in the world. Here are the most haunted places in the world. Eastern State Penitentiary, Pennsylvania, United States. Built in 1829, Eastern State Penitentiary is a former prison in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's known for being the very first prison of its kind to introduce solitary confinement, or what they used to call the Pennsylvania system. Prisoners were sent to solitary during this time as a form of rehabilitation. They would be completely isolated, living alone, eating alone, and even exercising alone in their yards. Whenever an inmate left his cell, a black hood would be placed over his head to assure he remained in confinement. Due to the Eastern State's harsh approach, many prisoners were driven to insanity, and as a result, the Pennsylvania system was scrapped in 1913. From then until 1970, it was used as a regular prison and held the likes of Al Capone and the bank robber Willie Sutton. Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Kentucky, United States. Waverly Hills was originally a two-story wooden building that was opened in 1910. However, the building you see today was constructed in 1926. It served as a tuberculosis hospital throughout the early to mid-20th century, when the disease was at its worst. It is believed that as many as 63,000 patients died there. The death toll and the supposed mistreatment and questionable experimental procedures on patients are all recipes that may be behind one of the most haunted buildings in the whole of the US. The Waverly Hills Sanatorium has built quite a reputation over the years, as more and more people are allowed to investigate the premises. This has thrown up some incredible evidence over the years. Monte Cristo Homestead, New South Wales, Australia. The historic Monte Cristo Homestead in Junee, New South Wales, is regarded as the most haunted location in Australia. Its reputation stems from several tragic events that have occurred there since it was built in 1885. From its construction up to 1948, the Crawley family owned and resided in the property. During this time, the family witnessed many deaths, including the tragic death of a young child who was dropped down the stairs. A maid to the family is believed to have fallen from the balcony, and a stable boy burned to death on the property. A mentally ill man named Harold, the son of a caretaker, was chained up in the caretaker's cottage for 40 years. He was found curled up next to the body of his dead mother and sent to a mental institute, where he died shortly after. Castle of Good Hope, Cape Town, South Africa. The Castle of Good Hope in Cape Town, South Africa, was built in the 17th century by the Dutch East India Company. It's the country's oldest colonial building, originally serving as a replenishment station for ships passing the treacherous waters of the Cape. The first reported paranormal occurrence was when the apparition of a tall gentleman was seen in 1915 on one of the castle's ramparts. The man wasn't seen again until 1947, when he was seen regularly over 2 weeks. He would be seen jumping off the side of one of the castle walls and walking between the bastions Leerdam and Orange. One of the most popular stories associated with the castle involves the former Governor Peter Gisbert van Noot. He died on 23 April 1728, the same day he had sentenced 7 soldiers to death after they were caught attempting to desert the military. The Tower of London, London, England. With a history of torture and execution going back over 900 years, the Tower of London is regarded by many as one of the most haunted places in the UK. It was originally built in 1078 by William the Conqueror, and has served a significant role in the history of England ever since. There have been many reports of the paranormal at the Tower of London over the years. The most famous of all the ghosts that live within its walls is Anne Boleyn's ghost, the wife of King Henry VIII. She was beheaded in 1536, and her headless body has been seen walking the tower's corridors, and often near the spot of her demise. Other full-bodied apparitions have also been seen, including Lady Jane Grey, spotted by a guardsman in 1957. Ancient Ram Inn, Gloucestershire, England. Built in 1145, the ancient Ram Inn is believed to be the most haunted house in the entire British Isles, and perhaps the most haunted house in the world. The tales of child sacrifices, devil worship, and evil spirits are behind the terrifying happenings in this building. The inn was built on the intersection of 2 ley lines, which many people believe is a conductor for spiritual activity. In addition, an ancient pagan burial ground is said to have resided in the property over 5,000 years ago. During its time as bed and breakfast, people would often flee in the middle of the night, often seeing full-bodied apparitions in their rooms, the feeling of being touched pulled, disembodied voices, and the general sense of evil. John, the previous owner, now deceased, of the Ram Inn, reported that on his first night in the house in 1968, he felt a presence grab his arm before being dragged out of bed and across the room. Fort George Citadel, Nova Scotia, Canada. Labeled as Canada's most haunted historic site, the Halifax Citadel has received hundreds of reports of ghost sightings over the years. Situated at the summit of Citadel Hill in Halifax, Nova Scotia, this star-shaped fort is almost 300 years old, with the original foundations being built in 1749 and reconstructed in 1856. Staff and visitors have reported several apparitions walking the grounds here. One particular visitor witnessed a soldier in uniform walk into one of the rooms in the old prison area and vanish. This is a common theme, with many reports centered around apparitions. Other ghostly figures that have been witnessed include an older man, a woman, a man in a red cloak, and an older lady who has been known to show herself in mirrors. BANFF, Springs Hotel, Alberta, Canada. The Banff Springs Hotel in Alberta, Canada, was built over 125 years ago by the Canadian Pacific Railway as a luxury stop-off point for train travelers. Don't let its picturesque surroundings fool you though, as it's rumored to be one of the most haunted in the country. Terrifying reports include sighting a bride who fell down the staircase, breaking her neck after panicking when her dress caught fire. Her apparition has been seen on the stairs and in the ballroom dancing, with many reporting the flames from the back of her dress. The main story that locals tell is that of the family that was murdered in room 873. The door to this room has since been bricked up, but the family that lost their lives in this room are still seen to this day, often in the hallway outside the room. Château de Brissac, Maine, Eastern Time, Loire, France. Originally built in the 11th century as a castle by the Counts of Anjou, Château de Brissac was rebuilt in 1502 by Charles II, Duke of Brissac, who gave it its name. This noble castle is the tallest in France, and it exudes old-world charm, but one of its past residents has shocked more than one visitor. A double murder in the 15th century within the castle walls has resulted in one of the more famous ghosts of the Château de Brissac, that of the La Dame Verte, or Green Lady. The current residents, the current Duke of Brissac and his family, have become accustomed to her roaming the rooms, but she has scared many guests. She is often seen in the tower room of the chapel, wearing her green dress. What's terrifying, however, is her face. Bergvattnet, Praskard, Sweden. Bergvattnet is a small village in Jämtland County, northern Sweden. It's renowned for having one of the most haunted houses in Sweden, the Old Vicarage, built in 1876. The first ghost ever documented at the vicarage came in 1927, when the chaplain Nils Hedlund resided. He reported many strange happenings, including one particular encounter with something paranormal. He was on his way up to the attic to gather his laundry when he witnessed his laundry being torn down from the line by an unseen force. Rudolf Tangden, a priest who lived at the vicarage during the 1930s, saw an older woman dressed in gray appear in a room. He followed her as she walked away, but she vanished in front of his eyes. In the 1940s, Tangden's successor, Otto Lindgren, and his wife said they had several paranormal experiences, including unexplained sounds and moving objects. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to like, leave a comment and subscribe to our channel for upcoming videos.